Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Whether it's your first video of mine or you're a returning viewer, howdy. If you came for subpar Minecraft gameplay with some pretty interesting Reddit stories to go along with it, you're in the right place. Like I said, I'm going to be reading some interesting Reddit stories while I play a little bit in one of my Minecraft realms. So go ahead and sit back, relax, and enjoy. But before I forget, if you have a story that you want me to read or react to, go ahead and send it to the email in the description. Alrighty, guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into our first story. So, this story is titled, Am I or Is My Girlfriend in the Wrong? So, I, male 20, have a friend group that consists of mostly guys and a few girls. My girlfriend, female, 18, is not part of this friend group very often. This one girl in the group, named Bree, female, 19, said she liked me, and I made it clear to her that I am faithful and love my girlfriend. I told my girl this, and she said to lose contact with Bree completely, which means if I'm hanging with the group, I can't speak to Bree at all. I know Bree would leave it alone and never mention that incident again and move on with her life, which is why I think it's crazy that my girl would suggest that I completely give her the cold shoulder in my friend group when we are all hanging out. Now, I agree I should distance myself from her, stop texting her, try to stop sending signals, but I think it's unfair to ask me to ignore her completely in a group setting, as long as she respects my boundaries that I set. Am I in the wrong here? Alrighty, now we can get into how I feel about this and how the comments feel about this on this post. So, first off, I think that the writer is kind of in the wrong. Um, I think it was first off, a good thing to tell her that you're faithful and you love your girlfriend, but also, what do you mean at the end that you should try to stop sending her signals? Bro, you need to just be, you can act cordial, but I agree with the girlfriend. I think that he really should distance himself and, I don't know, be respectful of his girlfriend and respect their relationship, which it sounds like he's trying, but I think he could try a little bit better. The top upvoted comment is, I'm not saying the girlfriend is right, but I think I would ask the same. Bree literally knew you were in a relationship and ignored that when she told you about her feelings. How can your girlfriend ever be cool with that? If Bree did it once, why wouldn't she do it again? I completely agree with that. I feel the same way. I feel the same way. Um, I think that's pretty much how I feel. But let me know if you feel differently or agree down in the comments below. Alrighty, that story is over, so we will go ahead and dive into our next one. So the next one's a little longer of a story, and it is titled, Am I Wrong for Ending a 20-Year Marriage Because I Learned That My Wife Cheated on Me While We Were Dating? My wife, 44 female, and I, 43 male, have been married 20 years. We started dating in high school when I was a junior and she was a senior. We were long distance for her first 2 years of college while I was in high school and did 1 year at community college. Then we went to college in the same city for a year and lived together ever since. We got married the summer after I graduated college. Our marriage has been pretty great so far, but I initiated a divorce after I discovered that she was sleeping with multiple other men for the 2 years we were long distance. Just after Christmas, we got together with a few friends of hers from college to catch up, have dinner, and hang out. We talked about a lot of stuff, and my wife mentioned that we met in high school. Not that we dated, just that we met. Her old college roommate commented that it was crazy that we met in high school, had a few wild years in college, then ended up together. I played along and commented that I didn't know if my wife was as crazy as I was. The roommate started to tell the story, but my wife cut her off and said she was uncomfortable about it. I sensed something was up, so I said that we actually started dating in high school and were together for my wife's entire time at college. All of my wife's friends got real quiet and the rest of the dinner was awkward. On the way out, one of her other roommates took me aside and said I should have an honest conversation about what happened at college. I asked my wife on the way home, and she kind of blew me off. I told her it was important that she was honest with me, and again she said it wasn't important. When we got home, I told her I was going to stay at my brother's house until she was ready to talk about what happened in college. The next day, she came over and admitted to sleeping with several men during her first 2 years at college. She said she didn't consider it a big deal at the time because we were long distance and she didn't think we were more than a high school romance that wouldn't last. I pressed for more details, and she said it was at least 10 different men, including at least 3 guys she introduced me to as friends when I came to visit on weekends, and one guy she was still in contact with. I told her that I wanted a divorce and would be starting the paperwork as soon as I could, which I did on January 2nd. Her family and most of my family is telling me I shouldn't throw away my marriage over a few mistakes. I've stood up by my belief that cheating on me with multiple men for years is unacceptable, no matter when it happened, and the fact that she continued to maintain relationships with these guys right in front of me was an unacceptable amount of disrespect. We have 2 children, but they are 17 and 19, and I believe they will understand why I need to end the marriage. Am I wrong for leaving? I feel like I'm going crazy with the amount of people telling me to overlook years of infidelity and decades of lies. And after that, there's an edit. Holy cow, I'm glad I did this with a throwaway because the response here is unexpected. I obviously can't answer every question/comment, but I wanted to provide some detail for common questions. The reason I posted this is that my wife and a few friends have been saying it's common to sleep with other folks when you're in a long distance relationship, and that I'm kind of the odd one out for not sleeping around. I felt like I was being gaslit, but I wanted an outside perspective. We live in a state with a waiting period to finalize the divorce, so I felt it was a reasonable idea to get some insight before things are finalized. After these comments, I see a handful of folks saying it's normal to sleep around during a long distance relationship, but it seems to be a significant minority. We saw each other a couple weekends a month during the 2 year college period. I lived about 3 hours away from her college, so it was a long distance, but not like cross country. This was not a situation where we went months without seeing each other. The 3 guys I met while she was in college were meetups that happened during parties. The subject of me being a boyfriend didn't really come up, so I honestly don't know if these guys knew anything. The one guy we're still in contact with married a mutual friend from college. This is not some guy she secretly messages on the side. It's somebody we've talked to regularly for years. I've talked to him a few times since I've learned about my wife. He said he didn't know we were dating at the time, and he has since blocked my wife on social media. Some folks have asked how the roommates didn't realize at our wedding that the timelines didn't work out. The main reason is that my wife and I had a very small ceremony with just close friends in Texas, then went back to the East Coast to have a big party with friends. The typical reception slash sharing details about how we met stuff didn't really happen, so her roommates didn't realize we started dating before college. It sounds like they thought we only dated for the year we were both in the same city, then moved in together. I was open to therapy or some kind of attempt to save the marriage, but her insistence that this whole thing is common and I'm the one who's out of line is just too much for me. The one time she showed any remorse or even offered to reconcile is when I started filing paperwork. And the last week, she's gone back to saying she's right and I'm overreacting. This is also why I feel like I'm being gaslit. It seems obvious that this is a major issue, but I've got my wife and others telling me it's normal and I'm overreacting. I'm not getting a paternity test unless my kids want to get one. I don't have any doubts that they are biologically mine, and no test will make them not my kids. I love them more than anything in the world, and my wife's infidelity won't change that, even if one or both of them is not biologically mine. They've been my kids for 19 years, and they will be my kids until I stop breathing. And then there is a final edit here. Hey all, I've been reading a bunch of the responses, but things are getting crazy and increasingly unhinged. So, I probably won't be checking in anymore, but here are a few more answers to common questions that I've seen. We were definitely exclusively dating at the time. First, dating culture was a lot different 20 ish years ago, and exclusive was kind of the default for most people. Second, we had a long and difficult discussion before she left for college about continuing the relationship long distance. She specifically wanted to stay together and even joked about her dad coming after me if I started sleeping around with girls at my school. Finally, at my senior prom, she was not able to attend and was very upset when I proposed going with a platonic female friend of mine. As a result, I ended up skipping my prom and hanging out with her instead. While we never said the word exclusive, I think above reasons, combined with the general relationship before she left, are enough to assume exclusivity. Based on some of the comments here, I followed up with the friend that said I should have had an should have an honest conversation. She told me that 10 guys would be on the low end, that her biggest concern was that there was apparently at least one pregnancy scare that I didn't know about. I honestly don't think that really changes much. It's less about the number for me and more about the fact that she seems incapable of recognizing why this was wrong or why I feel betrayed. Thank you all for the helpful responses, even those that disagree with me. I will still be open to therapy if she's willing, but I honestly feel like it would be more about us being successful co parents and finding closure rather than saving our marriage. And that story is now over. Okay, there is a lot to unpack there. So, if we got to look at like a timeline of this, they were married for 20 years, and while they were dating, she cheated on him at least at least 10 times it sounds like. Ooh, that's tough. Now, it is 20 years ago, but I honestly kind of agree with the writer, with the poster. If someone did that to me, I'm just trying to put myself in their shoes. I think I would feel the exact way that he did. Although it was 20 something years ago, you cheated on me not once, not twice, but multiple times, with 10 being the low end. Wow, that is crazy. And the fact that she was still somewhat in contact, I know it was through mutual friends, like, but still, that's just crazy to me that she had hidden this whole time. And even the friend had never mentioned it, which is kind of strange to me too, but at least he blocked her once the husband brought it up to him. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. That story is a lot to unpack, but I really do think that I agree with the poster. um, that's a really, really tough situation to be in. Reading some of the comments, a lot of people feel the same way. They agree with the poster. um, just looking at the top, she cheated and lied to you, then maintained contact with at least one of the people that she had interacted with, and introduced you to many of the guys that were hooking up with her. That is not only dishonest, but cruel. I think you were 100% in the right. Who knows what else she's done? You have no way of knowing. And I second that sentiment there. I think the same thing. Who's to say that she didn't continue to cheat potentially during the marriage, and he just hasn't found out? So again, I agree with the poster. But yeah, let me know what you'd think down in the comments below. Alrighty, let's dive into another story. So our next story is titled "Who Was in the Wrong Here? Me or Her? And what should I learn from this?" I want to understand this situation so I can grow as an adult. I'm not trying to blame her or myself. I just want to know what I should learn from it. I liked a girl. I'll call her C. About a month before I asked her out, she told me in person that she's a slow responder, and she really was, and she would take a long time to reply to text. I stayed patient and didn't rush her. Eventually, I did ask her out. Her response was clear and honest. She told me she didn't want to lead me on and that she wasn't interested in dating me now or in the future. She said she's looking for a different quality in a partner, but that she appreciated my positive energy and thought I was a nice and funny guy. Even with that rejection, she still engaged with me a lot afterwards. Her tone and actions sometimes felt more friendly, and I misread that as an interest because of that, I ended up asking her out 2 more times, and looking back, I know asking 3 times was too much. But in the moment, I truly thought something had changed because she kept talking to me and making me feel included. Later, things took a turn. She started asking me a series of questions. 1. Did you talk to me and her guy friend about me yesterday? 2. Was my name brought up? 3. Do you talk about me to other people? 4. What do you say? 5. Have you talked to the Mormon guys about me? That's an interesting question. Anyway. 6. Have you ever talked to someone about trying to date me? I told her that yes, I had mentioned her to a small group of close friends that I trusted, but only back in November and December. Nothing recent. I wasn't trying to gossip or hurt reputations. It was just me processing my feelings with people that I trusted. I also reassured her that I was learning and trying to grow, and I asked if she was feeling uncomfortable because I wanted to make sure she was okay. Then, a little later, she sent me a message that said she felt uncomfortable and disrespected by my actions. She said talking about her to other people and sharing personal information made her uncomfortable. She asked me to give her space and distance and not to contact her unless she reached out to me. She said to please respect that boundary. I did respect it and I gave her space. Now I'm trying to understand the situation fully. Here are my questions. 1. Who was in the wrong? 2. Did she make the right decision to reject me? 3. Was I ever a keeper to her? 4. Was she a keeper to me? 5. Why did she keep engaging with me in ways that felt more friendly if she had no interest? Someone told me something that stuck with me. You're treating her like a priority while she treats you like an option. Someone else told me that always being the one to start the conversation is a terrible foundation for a relationship. They said if a relationship started like this the first time we had a disagreement, she would probably ignore me until I reached out again. It made me realize that maybe I was trying too hard. I didn't want to be needy or force her to respond. I wanted her to want to talk to me first, but I knew deep down that wouldn't happen. Another person told me that it shouldn't be this much work and that people who are interested will show it. They said I should initiate and look at the quality of her responses instead of the timing. They told me not to drag things on too long and that if someone enjoys your company, a meetup should happen naturally. Someone said that there are no secret tricks and that dating is simply getting to know someone and seeing where it goes. They said if you enjoy each other's company, grab dinner and go from there. With all of this in mind, I want to know honestly, who is actually in the wrong here? What should I learn so I don't repeat these mistakes? And why would a girl who wasn't interested still give off warm, friendly vibes that she felt like she cared more? I stepped out of my comfort zone to ask her out. She rejected me, but she kept engaging with me afterward, and that made me confused. That's why I asked again. I wasn't trying to pressure her, I misunderstood her friendliness. So I'm trying to grow here. Any honest perspectives, even if it's tough to hear, is appreciated. That story is now over. This one is kind of tough. If I had to pick a side, I think I gotta go against the poster here. It sounded like, I mean, it sounds like the girl was very friendly, and she, even though the poster had romantic feelings, even after that, she still tried to remain his friend, and he continued to cross that boundary. And although I don't think it's disrespectful when you're interested in someone to talk about them to your close friends, maybe or family, I think that's fine. So I don't get why she felt maybe disrespected, especially if it was before he had ever asked her out on a date. I'm not sure about that. I think that's not a problem, but what I would say is the poster is probably wrong um, to ask her out 3 times and eventually it sounds like she had tried to set a boundary and he kept crossing it. So eventually she just had to cut him off. Um, she did specifically say that she was looking for a partner with different qualities, which leads me to believe that even though she felt that way, it sounded like she still wanted to be his friend. I could see where this is maybe people think that maybe she was leading him on and using him as an option, but I'm not really sure about that, especially after she kind of just cut him off, it sounds like. So this is kind of a tough one. It's tough to pick sides on this one, but I think she just kind of got sick of him asking her out, so she was like, it's better just to cut ties than to try to keep this friendship alive. But yeah, that's kind of my opinion. Let me know what you guys think below. Alrighty, let's jump into another story. Alright, so the next story is titled, Who is in the Wrong? Well, my girlfriend and I aren't on the best terms. A year ago, we started to argue because of uninterest on her part. She began talking to other guys, and since I have trust issues, our relationship really didn't work out. So I left. February of this year, she came back and said sorry for everything, stuff that I won't go into detail about because it is a lot and doesn't really matter to the story. I was really excited to see that she was alive still because she was suffering with depression and suicidal thoughts. But after a few months of dating again and leaving in the past, she started to talk to the same guy again, and she assured me he is just a friend or whatever. And I got really upset because he was the main reason that we split up originally. And then she got mad at me for not letting her talk to the other guys. And it isn't the fact that I am suspecting that they are cheating, but it angers me that she can't see the only outcome, which will be the things that have happened last year will only happen again. I asked her, "Do you think about my feelings?" And she said no. Straight up, no. And now we aren't talking because she got mad at me for overreacting, which I might be. But she said she wanted a future with me, or whatever, so doing so made me react that way. Please help. If I'm in the wrong, tell me. I don't know what to do. That story is now over. Alright. All I'm saying is I really like the top comment. I feel like that really resonates with me and is kind of how I feel. Both of you are technically in the wrong. She is in the wrong for how she treats you, and you are in the wrong for letting her back into your life. Cut your losses and move on. For future reference, no one changes. I feel that to the core. I feel like she did you wrong already, and you let her go, which was the right thing to do. And then you came back to each other for whatever reason, and then she started doing the same thing over again. The whole reason why you broke up was because of these other guys. You get back together, and now she's talking to the same guys again. So, again, like that commenter said, I think the best thing to do is just cut your losses and move on. But if you feel the same way or you feel differently, let me know down in the comments. Anyway, that story is now over. Alrighty, guys, I think that's going to do it for me today. Thank you for listening and hanging out with me for a little bit of time. I do want to address a few things. So, I know I've been getting some comments about doing some longer form videos. Trust me, they are coming. I plan to post an hour-long video, hopefully, fingers crossed, if everything goes well this weekend. I just work a lot during the week. I work Monday to Friday, um, at least 45 hours. So try to do these in my free time. But again, I have a wife and I have priorities and, responsibilities outside of work. And I try to do this in my free time. So don't hurt me, but I promise that I am going to try to get you some longer format videos here in the near future. And again, I just want to talk a little bit about my appreciation for you guys super quick, especially if you've made it this far in the video. I started this channel about a month ago. I started it June 12th, 2026. It is now, as I'm recording this, July 7th, 2026. So not even a month ago, I started this channel, and I now have, at the time of this video, 75 subscribers. And I can't even lie, when I started this, I just did it. It was something that I would do in my free time for fun, and it just wows me that I've created this little community of people that listen to me and watch my gameplay. It really does mean the world to me that you guys hang out with me and choose to spend your free time, because I'm sure you're working super hard out in the world just like I am. But you choose to spend your time listening to me, and I could not be more grateful. And like I say in all my videos, if there's any way that I can improve these videos for you, please let me know down in the comment section. And if you can like or subscribe, both of those would be epic and help me out a ton. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys tuning in and listening to these stories. And also, I think I mentioned it in the beginning, but if you have a story that is your own story, or a story that you found on Reddit or somewhere, on the internet that you want me to read and react to, send it to the email in the description below. But anyway, guys, I think that's going to be it from me today. I really do appreciate all of you tuning in and listening to me. It does really, truly mean the world. All right, guys, talk to you later. Peace.